man? This your boy Dirk, DC Vibe. Sitting here with my guy.
Frank Sears, a.k.a. Scooby the Godson, man. And together, we are SiriusVybe Primetime.
You, Scooby the Godson today?
Scooby the Godson. I could add another adjective on there. Whatever you need.
That's it.
Scooby the Godson. They call me Mr. Original. Southeast Home. DC Bread. I got Emmy Award winning.
There you go.
MTV Award winning. Forgot about that one. I don't have the actual award though. Yeah.
Well, it don't count.
It count in your mind. In your mind, it's up here. It happened. I remember. What's up, y'all? SiriusVybe Primetime. Once again,
who we got on the couch?
On the couch today, man, we got my guy, music executive for over 20 years. Worked with all kinds of artists throughout the industry. Artist development, marketing. None other than the talented Mr. Amir Boyd. Y'all give it up, y'all.
Yeah.
What's up, bro?
I got an AKA.
Okay, what's the AKA?
AKA Michelob.
Michelob.
It's gonna be people out there who know that.
I'm about to say you gotta give us the backstory on that one. What's up, man? What is like being home?
Man, it's always good being home, man. You know, it's a familiar feeling.
Yeah.
I have to use GPS.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Things changed that much?
So yeah, some parts have changed. Like, you know, a lot of stuff wasn't there when I was here. Like I've been gone since 2003.
Yeah.
So you know, we was talking about high schools. Some of them high schools wasn't even around when I was around here. You know what I'm saying? So, but it's always good to be home, man. This is where my tribe is. Mm-hmm. You know what I'm saying? My family on the East Coast, so it's always good.
Now you were living in LA for
7 years there, and almost 20 in Atlanta.
Okay.
So I was in Atlanta from 2003 to about 2017.
Okay. Mm. So for those of the people that don't know, tell everybody what it is exactly you did for those 20-something years.
Oh man. So I usually start from the beginning, right? I went to Morgan State.
Okay.
And I remember I saw you, and I was kind of telling you how in Morgan, you know, it was a lot of people from home there. You know what I'm saying? So, but we would go to parties, and they would just be playing. You know, when they play go-go, they would just play like Sardines, and they would play The Butt.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? And they play Work the Walls.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And I was like, you know, and they usually would play it like towards the end. You know what I'm saying? So we was like, okay, so, and that was pretty much all we was getting from the DJs up there. And so I used to be walking around with like PA tapes, playing them, listening. Okay. Like if you saw me on campus, I had the Walkman. On. Yeah. You know what I'm saying? And I was known for having these PA tapes. Me and my man Mo, shout out to Mo, he would have them too. And I would be listening. So much so that I was like, man, I'm about to start throwing parties in my house.
Right.
Actually, it started out as a cookout right across the street from Morgan, 1648 Northgate Drive. That was our address, literally across the street from Morgan State. So we started having cookouts. The cookouts led to parties, and I'd be down there DJing off of cassette tapes with the dual cassette tape joint.
Right.
And I had
one side, then playing the other side.
Exactly. And like merging, you know, damn near mixing. You know what I'm saying? Right. But
that's crazy.
I had learned the tapes that much.
Right.
You know what I mean? Like I knew when
it wasn't no track.
It was exactly. Yeah. So I had learned the PA tapes that much that I knew when to blend them in and blend them out and shit like that, using that pause button. You know what I mean, on there. So I always start there because that's, to me, you know, these parties were like of epic proportion. If you went to Morgan from like 92 to like 95, or at least like 97, you participated in these parties with me.
Right.
And they started out in my basement, and it just kept growing. Next thing you know, I was living in like a duplex apartment. So my neighbors, they owned the apartment, like their parents or something owned it. And one time I was like, man, listen, let's use your spot too. You know what I mean? So we could use the basement, my level where I lived at, and go upstairs and use their spot too. And I was like, man,
house party,
whole
building.
The whole building. I was thinking the Ritz. Remember the Ritz had all them floors. You know what I'm saying? So sure enough, come down in the basement. I'm playing all go-go. I had another DJ on the floor where I lived at, like a real DJ. Shout out to Chuck L, real DJ. And then upstairs you could chill. If you didn't want to be around all that, you wanted to watch TV, you could do that too upstairs, right? Yeah. Man, them parties was so crazy. It was like the next day I'd be stepping over bodies.
That's crazy.
Because, you know what I mean? So to me, that's where everything started for me.
Okay.
You know what I mean? So I always like start there because that's when I realized, oh man, I can get people to come out. Like I got a gift for that. You know what I'm saying? And I also had a premonition there too. It was like, you know, one of my homies was telling me this before I went to LA. He was telling me this. He was like, man, one day you told me, he was like, we was walking down the street, you know, around Northgate, just chilling, smoking or whatever. And he said, you said we wasn't even talking about this. And you was like, man, I'm about to go work for Dr. Dre, Jay-Z, Snoop Dogg and them. And he looked at me like I was crazy because he said we wasn't talking about that. Right. He said, you just randomly said that. And the next thing you know, he said, I've been watching your career the whole time and you doing everything you said you was going to end up doing. You know, you said in the mind, you was talking about
manifesting.
Exactly. So I've been living that the entire time since then. You know what I mean? Moving in that direction. And he even said to me, he's like, man, it's been so inspirational because it was some stuff that I know I needed to do myself that I hadn't done because I was scared or I was thinking about how to go wrong or whatever. He was like, but you just been moving up the ladder. So again, Morgan State is always where I say things started for me. And it's been a hell of a ride since, you know what I'm saying? I ended up working with a group out of here, out of this area, called Lost Jenna. Okay. And my man Nato, a lot of people call him Churchy now, but that's, like he like they had a group called Lost Generation, and they was fire. You know what I mean? Like all over the city, they was fire, and we'd be at the crossroads and performing all over the place, and we didn't know what we was doing though. You know what I'm saying? We just was he back up, give us tapes, and we'd just either be handing out the samplers, trying to sell them or whatever the case may be, the CDs, all of that. And that also showed me a little bit too. But again, we didn't know what we was doing. We ain't had no structure. Right. We just was out here trying to get, I ain't know really nothing about the music business.
Kid in the game for real.
Yeah. You know what I'm saying? None of us did really. You know what I mean? Because had we known, you probably could still find that project on these platforms, but you can't. Right. Because we didn't know what we was doing. You know what I'm saying? We thought Nato was the one who was gonna lead the town. Right. And go somewhere and it was like, okay, all right, it's on now. You know what I mean? But it kind of ended up happening the other way. It ended up kind of being me. You know what I mean?
Yeah. So you were in the group or you were managing?
Nah, I just was
helping out.
I was a part of the street team. Okay. You know what I'm saying? I was part of one of the homies. Like, man, you know, take these samplers. Because you know, back then they would give you like samples of each song. One song you might have on there, but the other ones was like samples of each song. And we just be, you know, guerrilla marketing. You know what I'm saying? With the posters, with the samplers. Then we finally got the CDs. Again, we ain't know what we was doing. I wish somebody had, you know, kind of hindsight, we wish somebody had said, man, look, this how y'all do this. Yeah. You know what I mean? But we still had a good time doing it. But that's kind of was like, okay, all right, even though I don't know what I'm doing, I see the reaction. You know what I mean? Yeah. So that's also something. And I have never really mentioned that in an interview.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah, I've never talked about what Lost Jenna meant to me. Because it was like, that was our crew. Yeah. You know what I'm saying?
And it was like kind of your first.
Yes. Yeah. It was kind of like my first kind of like.
It was like having that first girl, man.
Exactly. You know what I mean? So yeah, that, and I can't even tell people where to go find the project. Yeah.
Shout out to Lost Jenna, man.
Yes.
That's a name I ain't heard in years.
Right. Yes, exactly.
What was your major at Morgan?
So here's the thing. I went to school to be a history teacher. Yeah.
You grew up wanting to be a history teacher?
Yeah. I love history. Like right now, like
you love it so much you want to teach it though. That's different.
So I come from a family of teachers. My mom a teacher. Okay. I actually did some substitute teaching a couple of times, you know what I'm saying? And yes, I loved history so much that I wanted to teach it.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? One of my favorite teachers in high school was a history teacher, and I learned so much from him that wasn't in the books that they was giving us.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? So, you know, Langston Hughes, Claude McClay, like stuff like that, Phyllis Wheatley, like that stuff wasn't in the books. You know what I mean? He was giving us, and he happened to go to Morgan. He graduated from Morgan. So it was like, oh yeah, all right, yeah, this is what I want to do.
Okay.
But once I started substitute teaching, I was like, yeah, nah, this ain't it. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
What grade was it?
I was up Suitland.
Oh, yeah.
Nah, I mean, I had to say it's nothing bad. My wife went to Suitland, so you know,
Yeah.
shout out to the Suitland.
I was up
something.
Suitland.
But I mean, you know, it's the hood, man. You know?
Yeah, and you know, them little girls was, you know, on me a little bit, and I was like, hey, nah, this ain't, you know.
Right.
But you be like, hey, nah, and that go right out their ears. But it's kind of just showed me, and I don't know. I got a lot of friends that are educators, and I know one thing they always say, they need black men in these schools. You know what I'm saying? So, but again, that conversation I had with my homie, like, I didn't get into it right then, but I knew I was streamline focused for that.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? I knew that at some point, you know, I was going to work my way into the music business. And I ended up getting a government job, the Stay in School program.
Okay.
Working out in Arlington. Department of Defense Education Activity. So I was doing personnel for teachers who teach overseas. So that was another thing I was thinking about. Oh yeah, I'm about to use all of this. I'm gonna go overseas and teach.
Yeah.
And
see the world a little bit.
Exactly. Let them pay for everything. But man, I remember telling the lady in the mailroom, I can curse.
Yeah.
I said, man, fuck this work shit. This about to be my last office job.
Yeah.
I'm about to go work for the radio station. I ain't had no idea. I ain't had no, like, nothing. I didn't know.
Was it?
I just felt like that's what I was gonna go do next.
okay.
Station, yeah. He just,
I just knew.
You manifested it again.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I just knew that I was gonna end up working at a radio station.
Yeah.
And I end up living uptown on 5th and Q, and I worked at the O Street Giant, and I worked at the MCI Center. It was MCI Center then.
Wow, MCI Center before Verizon, before Cap One.
Exactly.
It was MCI.
Yes.
Yeah, that was the first name.
Yeah, that was the first name. And Jordan was a part owner. This was when they first changed over to the Wizards. I was working in the food department, like, you know, the suites, making sure the suites was straight.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Hospitality.
Exactly. And I started, my homegirl she used to come to my parties at Morgan. She was like, yo, PGC hiring. WPGC hiring. I was like, man, all I gotta do is just tell me what day. I went up there. They loved me. I knew they was gonna love me. And I was working with Tony Reds.
Yeah.
Now Tony Reds, his driving record was bad, but mine was
Squeaky clean.
Exactly. So he couldn't drive the station vehicles. You know what I'm saying? So we would do these things called street hits, where you had to be out and be like, hey, this your man, Tony Red, I'm here. Come get these tickets, t-shirts, right? He couldn't drive, so I had to take him driving. You know what I'm saying? But at the time, I'm still working at the MCI Center, good benefits, union, part-time, working at the Giant, really good job. They talking about making me a manager. And this PGC job, and some days I wouldn't go to PGC because I was trying to get to the bigger bag at those other two jobs. You know what I'm saying? And I never forget this. One day, he told me that they hired his friend to drive. I was like, oh, nah, hell no. I quit them other two jobs. Yeah. You know what I'm saying? Because I was like, this is my opportunity to do what I've been talking about.
Really
exactly. You know what I'm saying? And I wasn't making no money. It was part-time. I think we was making $4.25 an hour.
Yeah.
But yeah.
Slave wages.
Yeah. And I learned how to do engineering. So setting up all the live broadcast stuff. I learned how to run the board. I learned how to, because I was using PGC as a college.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? I was like, oh yeah, I'm here. I'm about to learn how to do all this. Exactly. I ended up they had this Winnebago. They could go live broadcast from anywhere.
I remember that joint.
Yeah, it's called the Beast.
Yeah.
I ended up being the main driver, the main person setting all of that up. You know what I'm saying? Still, they wasn't giving me no money,
Right.
but I was like, all right, cool. This is gonna be my way into the business.
Yeah.
And it was. It absolutely was my way into the business because I got in there and saw what I wanted to do.
Did it become addictive?
Absolutely. Absolutely. I spent every day at the radio station, even when I had nothing to do. You know what I'm saying? Because I knew that I was going to be learning something or I was going to bump into somebody that was going to teach me something.
Yeah.
Exactly.
And it was so much.
It was so
much that happens at a radio station.
Exactly. Yeah. We would have these things called music meetings back then. And the labels would come in and provide food and play all their music for us. Yeah. Thea Mitchum was the music director. Jay Stevens was the program director. Reggie Rouse was the APD. And Thea, who is now big wig over at iHeart, used to let these labels come in and play this music for us. And one time in the meeting, she was like, each one of y'all, it would be like all the street team people, all the jocks on there. Like, at this time, I'm there. Donnie Simpson's there. Tigger's there. Rain and Flex. Oh, wow. Actually, Nonchalant and Flex first.
Right, yeah.
All of them. And then whoever else, Osei the Dark Secret, whoever else is we'll be in these meetings. CeeLo, shout out to Funk Regulator CeeLo, that was my dog. Yeah, rest in peace. We'd be sitting in them meetings. Tony Reds too, rest in peace. We'd be sitting in these meetings. They'd be playing on this music. And one time I heard Thea say, each one of y'all in here represents 1,000 people, right? So they playing this music for us, and we hearing it first. They ain't the labels playing the music, trying to get a reaction from us. Right. And at that time, PGC was known for breaking records, like literally making the whole country. You know what I'm saying?
They were the leaders at that time.
Exactly. They were the leaders at that time. And we'd be in there with these label reps, and I would see how people respond to them, to the label reps. Because once they came around, everybody knew it was
shape up.
Man, nice kicks, you know what I'm saying? Yeah. Fly, nice watch pieces, everything. So I was like, that's what I'm gonna end up doing.
I want to be on that side.
Exactly. Yeah. You know what I'm saying? But I had to still, work on things that was in front of me at first. I couldn't just jump into that. But
it reminded me of Bernie Mac. We hit that button in Players Club. Boom. Money.
Oh, what? Yep. I promise you, because I saw
girls get their stuff together.
Man, listen, what? Like a light go off.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? I saw that and I was like, okay, this is what I'm gonna end up doing. This the role that I'm gonna end up having in this music business. Because to me, they were all executives.
Right.
And the only time I had really seen an executive like that is in a video with the Uptown video with Andre Varel and them. I was like, oh shit, that looks cool. You know what I mean? So, but yeah, that was like, okay, all right, nice kicks. Everybody want to hang with them. They got a corporate card. They taking us out to dinner. We going crazy. You know what I'm saying?
There was actually money to be made.
It was actually, yes, lots of money was being made.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? In the 90s in the music business, yo.
So as a group like us, we got a single coming out. How would we break it nowadays?
Current time.
Man, I always say this to everybody. I feel like, no matter what genre you doing, if you got your home team on your back, you should be able to get everybody else. I remember one time, All-Star Weekend, Master P was on the radio station out here. We had All-Star Weekend, Master P was at our station. And he's like, man, if you get your hometown, you can get everybody else. Yeah. DC is a hard market to get, though.
Market, yeah.
It's a hard market to
Chucky
get.
told me the same thing. He said, if you can rock your block, you can rock the world.
I believe that wholeheartedly.
Never forget that.
I believe that wholeheartedly. So, I think that because everything done gone digital, people done got lazy. So all they gotta do is hit a send button. They done forgot that you still need to go tap that DJ on the shoulder and be like, hey man, I got this new record, blah, 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 blah. Right. You know what I'm saying? Or you still need to go do some of the guerrilla marketing that people have totally forgot about that really gets people's attention still. You know what I'm saying? And I think with Go-Go, and I had this conversation with you not too long ago, I always felt like, and I still feel like this, Go-Go has always relied on promotion. they never relied on marketing.
Marketing, yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Difference.
It's always got your flyer up, you know, put it on, and now it's put it on social media, and we know y'all coming.
So for the people, explain the difference.
Where I feel like marketing is something that gets your attention that may not have anything totally to do with what you're trying to sell. Yeah. But if you spin it, it comes back to your way. You know what I'm saying? Branding, exactly. Yeah. You know what I'm saying? I feel like promotion is getting your flyers and putting them up and handing them out and
help people run into them.
Exactly.
Right.
Yeah. So what I would think that what Dwayne No Last Name does is marketing.
Yes.
Dwayne Nut. We call him No Last
Name. Yeah. Dwayne Nut.
Yeah.
Shout out to because he went to Morgan State too. Yeah. And you can ask him about them parties. Yeah. I inspired him.
Yeah, he kind of picked up your mantle.
Yes. Yes. I inspired him. All them niggas, and it's cool because they may not ever say it, but they know that they was coming to my parties and be like, man, this nigga. And I wasn't even doing them, but charging people $5.
Yeah. You know and Omar Kashif too.
Omar too. Shout out to Omar. Omar actually took some drug tests with me before. when I was working at Morgan I was working at Circuit City and they needed me to piss and I was like, man, hey, cuz Circuit City. I was a custodian up there.
That's crazy. So you done had a few jobs.
Oh yeah, nah. I got calluses, bro.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
You don't mind getting your hands
Nah, not at all. Still to this day. You know what I'm saying? Like I ain't gonna ask nobody to do something that I wouldn't do. You know what I mean? But I think, you know, and I would help them. Like with Omar and them, they had a collective too. I forgot the name of it, but I had a collective. I think I was called High Life Promotions. Mm-hmm. And I think theirs was Small Draws or something. I forget the name of it. But, yo, they was like, Amir, we about to throw this party. We need somebody to work the door. All right, cool. Mm-hmm. You know what I'm saying? And one time, Omar and them did My Eastern Hip Huggers for Morgan Homecoming. And every time I seen Sugar Bear, he like, man, y'all made a lot of money that night. We killed them. Yeah. You know what I'm saying? Yes. Yeah, we killed them, right? But back to your original question, I think what y'all doing with the old characters, that's a form of marketing to me.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? Because if y'all spin that shit the right way, it could turn into what y'all looking for as far as getting the music out. Yes.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? It ain't really no rules to this shit no more. You know what I'm saying? But I think that a lot of times, because everything is digital, a lot of artists have got, especially these young artists, they don't even got to go outside. They feel like they ain't even got to go outside no more. All they got to do is hit send.
Become a YouTube sensation.
Man, but, the people.
You got to touch the people. Pause.
You got to touch the people. Pause. You got to touch the people, man. You got to. Like, because that's who determined was and you if you got some money, you can pay to get up front in the front of the line. Yeah. But
they still got to like it at the end of the day.
They still got to like it at the end of the day.
Yeah.
Still got to like it at the end of the day.
So what's some of the artists that you kind of first broke out with where you feel like I made it, or I feel like
you knew, like, you know what? I'm here.
I'm doing it.
So all right. So I leave PGC, go to Baltimore to help start another radio station, X1057. Lil Mo was on the air, DJ B, Quicksilver, first radio job. I lead them. They go off the air. They changed the format March 7th of 2003, I believe.
Damn.
And I had been going down to Atlanta trying to get to be the promotions director down there at V103.
Right.
They take the station off the air. The very first song they play is Welcome to the Jungle. Welcome to the jungle. So Thea calling me. She called me the night before, and she's like, "You by yourself?" I'm like, "Nah, I'm with my kids." She's like, "All right, I'll call you tomorrow." And the next day, she called me. She's like, "Man, just come to the office." So I'm like, "All right." Back then, you can go to labels and get all of their product so you can hand it out in the streets. I was like, "I'm going over to RCA to get woo-woo." She's like, "Nah, just come to the office." I get up there, everybody crying. Like, they taking us off the air at 11 o'clock.
Damn.
First song, Welcome to the Jungle. I end up getting a call from the GM in Atlanta. "Come on down, we got a job for you. Being the promotions manager down here." All right, bet. I do that. I go to DTLR start opening up stores in other cities. They open
part
up.
of their. Okay.
They open up 8-9 stores in Atlanta. I leave radio and go help them open up their stores in Atlanta, doing marketing for them. They was already familiar with me because of Baltimore and obviously DC. You know, had a lot of stuff going on. Yeah. They was still downtown locker room before we left.
Right.
When I got down there, it was DTLR. I leave DTLR and go to Atlantic, Warner Brothers. So it was weird, right? And the first song that I worked was Boys in the Hood, Them Boys.
Yeah.
If it take it too long, waking up, bring it back. Bring it. And that shit was going crazy down south. I don't really know how I was doing up here, but down like from like Virginia down to over like Houston, it was going crazy. Right. And especially in Atlanta. Mm-hmm. So that was like my first record that I was like, oh, okay. And then, you know, because that's Bad Boy. Right. So at this time I'm working for Bad Boy. Right. You know what I'm saying? That was the first record that I worked at a major label that I was like, okay. And then when you go on the road with them guys, that's when you see it. Because it don't really hit you until you see it up close in a different setting. You know what I'm saying? Yeah, I'm hearing my songs on the radio. And again, at the time, I don't know. You know, sometimes when you get in the music business or you get into anything, they don't give you all the information. Nah. You know what I'm saying? They ain't telling you how the car's built. Right. They just telling you that they're giving you keys.
And go drive.
But they ain't telling you that, you know, you got to hit the gas 3 times for the hood to open up, or, you know what I'm saying, or you got to have some little magic wand, you know, to get people.
They ain't give you the tricks.
They ain't give you the tricks.
So you get assigned this song.
So now I'm responsible for Georgia, Alabama, and Tennessee.
So but the song that you work, they assigned it to you? Or
yes.
So they've like, here, take this song.
Yeah, take this song and get these radio stations in all of Georgia, all of Alabama, and all of Tennessee to play it. Like, be on their head.
Right. Like,
every day. Call them. If they playing it, you want them playing it more. Right. You know what I'm saying? If they not playing it, figure out how to get them to play it. You know what I mean? And I remember I had like 4 program directors that I couldn't get on the phone. They wouldn't return emails. Back then, it wasn't no texting. So they wouldn't return emails. They wasn't picking up their calls. You know what I'm saying? And one of them, I ended up getting his phone number, and I called him. And he was like, who is this? And I told him, this is Amir Boyd. He was like, man, I don't know how you got my phone number, but don't ever call my phone again.
God.
And hung up. Right?
It's a program director?
Program director. So you it's no different from being in a fraternity or sorority. You get hazed. Yeah. Right? They OGs. They don't know you. They don't trust you, you know. So what I did was I put on my marketing hat. I went to Home Depot and I bought 4 brass door knockers. Like door knockers. Yeah. And then I went to Things to Remember and got their names, all the program directors that I couldn't get in touch with. I got their names inscribed on these door knockers. And then I put them in a box, each one of them. And I wrote a letter in the box and said, my name is Amir Boyd, working for Special Ops, Bad Boy, Atlantic, whatever, woo. I'm knocking on your door. Please let me in.
Damn, dope.
They opened that shit, and they called my boss and was like, I don't know who this nigga is, but this nigga's dope. The same motherfucker who told me don't ever call him again, call me.
Oh, yeah.
And he was like, bro, that shit was brilliant. I'm fucking with you.
Yeah.
Come on down. We're going to go to dinner. Woo. I'm at this nigga's house. He got a vet. He letting me drive the vet, all kinds of shit. It's more about, because they going to haze you, right, you can't fold. They want you to be creative. Yeah. That's going to get your attention. You see what I'm saying? That's why I said marketing. Because I could have because I was already sending them my record with the flyer and whatever came with the record. Right. I was already doing that. That's the promotion part.
So is everybody else.
Exactly. And so is everybody else.
Stand out.
Now you got to stand out. So once that happened, I ain't had no. It was another PD. He had 4-wheelers and he'd be playing PlayStation shit. And he started inviting me over his house and shit. And I'm riding 4-wheelers in his backyard, all kinds of shit. Yeah. You know what I mean? Because you got to stand out. You got to make people want to remember you.
Yeah, I got a controversial question though. So, do you think because you moved away that gave you the gall to kind of make that kind of move? Because I feel like DC dudes ain't going the extra mile once you tell them nah, because we feel like, man, all right then, nigga, I don't need you anyway. Type shit.
Bruh.
You know what I'm saying?
You spot on. I think I have a theory. And some of it has to do with go-go music. I think, okay, so first of all, you know, I've been here and I done seen Maxwell get booed. You know what I'm saying? I done seen Alicia Keys get booed. I done seen some shit out here. And we not impressed with none of that.
With nothing.
But I think it has to do with go-go music. Because you can be a celebrity at the go-go's and and you be good with that. Because it's all call and response. And if you know somebody, you're going to be saying what's up to them and woo, woo, woo. And you know what I mean? And there's this arrogance that we have here that's a gift and a curse. Yeah. The gift is we don't give a fuck. The curse is we don't give a fuck. You know what I'm saying? So what happens is we too cool for the shit.
Yeah.
Bro, I got friends who have reached out to me about something, and if they don't get in touch with me that first time or that second time, then they like, fuck it, I ain't, you know what I'm saying? And I'm sitting here like, my nigga, you tripping. Yeah. Like,
especially
come work.
Something you want.
That's the difference. How bad do you want it?
How bad do you want it?
Nobody in DC wants it bad enough. What you gonna
say to yourself later when you say, damn, I should have did more?
Bro, when I tell you, I probably could write a book about this topic.
Yeah. Because
I have seen it so many and then when I'm in a city like Atlanta and you see, I know motherfuckers who was wearing the So Def head and outfit, and now they a whole music executive.
Yeah.
Like, you know what I'm saying? I heard Kevin Lau say, man, I was carrying Puff's luggage.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? So who am I not to go? I done had conversations with execs and said, what's wrong with y'all fucking with DC? And they all pretty much said the same thing. Man, y'all already figured like y'all got this shit under control. Like y'all already come in acting like y'all know it all.
But you know, to a certain level, we did the same thing though, right?
What you mean?
With that go-go celebrity syndrome, right? We would look up shit. We're walking motherfucking when we young, if we could walk bug shit in.
Oh yeah,
absolutely, bro.
We walking in that.
We walk, bro,
absolutely,
bro. You know when I got to Atlanta, I ain't know nobody in Atlanta. I had a couple of people, reps up here, two-way page me and give me contacts, you know, because the two-way pages was out back then. Right. And I'm DJ Mars, Usher DJ, whole bunch of people DJ. Man, let me carry your records up in here. Oh hell yeah, come on. Yeah. That's how I was getting into the clubs, carrying these niggas' records. Right. Now I'm working at the radio station at this time. This ain't me working at the label. Yeah. This me working at the radio station. I'm trying to get in the club, bro. I ain't about to pay. Let me carry your records up, bro. Frank Ski. Yeah. Let me carry your records up in here, bro. Mm-hmm. Like I have never been too good. So yeah, I think you're absolutely on to something. It is something here that gives us this arrogance that we feel like, man, all I need. I even my own friends will say, man, I called you, but you ain't call me back. What? Yo, you know I couldn't tell my boss that at a label. Right. We get conference calls. We had conference calls all week. I can't get on the call and be like, man, I called him, but he ain't call me back. Well, they're gonna be like, well, what did you do?
Right. Yeah. And do you think it's more so where we feel like, or we don't know, and I say we when I'm talking about of the majority. Do you feel like it's more so that we don't know what the epitome of success is? Like we think success is playing 4 nights a week.
$4.95
around here.
$4.95.
That as well as and you're right, because we haven't seen it or touched it either, right? Ain't nobody really came back and said, you know what, this is what's out there.
No, they have.
When they do, we don't
embrace it. Yeah. Nah.
We didn't accept Sugar Bear when he came back.
I was just getting ready to say that. I was watching the Sugar Bear interview. Mm-hmm. I ain't know Sugar Bear was going all over the world like that, bro. Yeah. Till he said that. Yeah. But it makes sense because every country I ever been to, they play the butt.
Yes.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Like everywhere. It made all the sense. But you're right. when he came back home, guess what happened?
Couldn't even feel it.
Work the Walls,
Yeah.
which is a diss song to the butt.
Yeah. It got a diss line in there.
It's definitely got a diss line in there.
Yeah. And he had to hide behind Maisha.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, just think how long it took for you to work with me.
I was wondering when he was gonna stop.
Burn, burn, burn,
I
burn.
was wondering.
You know what I'm
I was
saying?
wondering when he was gonna stop. Well, fortunately for me, Amir's here, and he was around the time, you know, when Listen was flying,
Yes.
and we was filling up clubs 7 nights a week. So, you know,
Okay.
I'm sorry. Huh?
I think I might got some of y'all music on CDs.
What you talking about? The band you got 5 from?
Yeah, the band I got. From.
Hey man, you ain't been in this shit until you got 5.
There you go.
Yeah, I got 5. Right?
Yeah.
But you can't get 5 from your own shit.
Nah, you can't get 5 from your own shit.
Yeah,
I
well,
mean, you can when you got you can when you got partners though.
Oh yeah, when you got partners, yeah.
You got voted out, Joe. You
Got
ain't
voted
get
out. Yeah, there you go.
Is that what happens in bands? You get voted out?
Absolutely.
Not
From the
my
time,
band.
no, when we was younger,
Yeah.
and we don't know no better. Yeah, it's definitely a vote out
yeah,
situation because
yeah.
everybody's equal
Yeah, because
shares.
nobody. Yeah, when we started, young teenagers, everybody's equal.
It's a noble
Right.
idea,
ain't-
but it don't work.
You never look at who's the more valuable.
Right.
Like having an artist, even if you got a group like Boys to Men or
Right.
let's say Maroon 5. Adam is the most valuable
Right.
face up there.
Right.
But we don't look at it that way. Well, people inside the band didn't see it if you came up.
Yeah.
in that
Got you.
Structure.
It's like a basketball team. There's 12 people on the basketball team.
Right.
But imagine John Paxson having the same voting power as
Jordan.
Mike Jordan. You know what I mean? So the bands,
Okay.
I think we kind of in our younger days, it's a noble thing to think that, you know, the keyboard player and such got more or the same power as the front line guys, but
Right.
it just don't work like that. And nowhere else in the world does it work like that. But
And at no time has the go-go business side evolved away from it.
Yeah. I'm telling. I think. Listen,
We're doing the same thing.
we're doing the same
since
thing
the early 80s.
because nobody ever said let's do something cool that we haven't done before. You know what I'm saying? Let's do something, especially in today's world where you know it's so easy to do cool shit and people can see it. I have been an advocate for, like, I'm one of them, like at Morgan, they weren't playing enough go-go. I'm about to make go-go a thing at my parties. When I lived in Atlanta, I had y'all come down there. You ain't even know this till I told you the other day. Y'all, Steve Harvey had his weekend down there. I brought y'all down there 2 years in a row. You know what I'm saying? I would have kept doing it, but it's not enough people in Atlanta to appreciate go-go where you gonna make some money. So you really just doing it because
something you want to
exactly right. I did. I always wanted to do S's for Morgan Homecoming. Did Morgan the year that they were shooting up there. I still had to do it. I had to change venues. It was just bucket list shit.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? But at the same time, you know, I always feel like, and I don't know, man, because I feel like sometimes the people don't want go-go to go nowhere else.
Nah,
Oh,
I always
nah.
say that.
That's-
they hold it
that's
in
100%.
captivity here.
Yeah, because somebody was just posting something where somebody was playing some Red S's or
Vegas.
something in Japan.
Oh, in Japan.
And I was like, man, this is dope. I've been to Japan, and when I was in Japan, it felt like I was in the 90s because they embrace this culture. They embrace all our culture, and if you have a conversation with them, they might tell you some shit that you ain't even know about the culture, right? Now, there's a difference between being in the culture and other culture and a fan of the culture. They fans of the culture.
Right.
But people was in there like, oh, they culture vultures.
And our fans think they're in the culture.
And they think they in the culture. Yeah. Right. They think they in the culture.
They know more than you.
And they know more than you. Exactly.
Yeah.
But, bro, you went to the go-go a couple of times. I mean, not even if you went every week. That still don't mean that you in the culture. Yo.
Right.
Like, you of the culture. You know what I mean?
And I feel like it's counterproductive.
It is.
Like, it's like calling your own baby ugly. You know what I mean? Like, when somebody goes out and performs. I saw somebody in Vegas say they had a residency there, and they were playing go-go. And, you know, some people might say they didn't sound good or whatever. But to me, it's an opportunity. They playing
That's what I
every week
said.
somewhere in Las Vegas.
That's what I
And then
said.
it's expectations. Why would you think they gonna sound authentic if they ain't come from an authentic place?
If they ain't
I
come
mean,
from
a couple of them are from here, but if you don't got you know, you don't got that swing.
If you ain't got that swing and that drum on the Congo player,
it's gonna sound like
and your sound man ain't right.
SiriusVybe. Got my brother Skeety, my brother Dirk. SiriusVybe. Hey. SiriusVybe Primetime.
Party with the body, everybody. Everyone. This is first two.